Hi, my name is Jaden now, and I'll be talking about our mental health during this pandemic. As we all know too well, the coronavirus has greatly changed the livelihoods of people all in every corner of this country, from costing millions of lives to closing down businesses and limiting family gatherings. This pandemic has affected our way of life to the very core. In the past, it's even closed down our schools and moved it online. And this is the first time in history. This way of schooling, online learning, has many serious and unintended consequences that all students should know, and maybe even you might be experiencing it. One of these consequences are mental health problems, and these affects teens and in an especially large manner. As we spend so much time in home due to this restrictions, many students feel very lonely and in need to get out and socialize with family or friends. And this is coupled with the need to learn virtually, and this leads to depression and also a lot of stress. According to NBC News, many teens and tweens are very tired of being at home for such a long duration, and they greatly miss seeing their friends and family in person. They want more thrills, and in addition to a recent survey conducted late last year, they found out that high school students are 56% more stressed out than before the pandemic. As NBC News clearly states, by needing to spend this much time learning virtually online and not being able to socialize, our mental health is plunging. And even as the pandemic rages on and has such a large toll on our mental health, we can ease this burden with creative ways, such as by forming small pods of friends and family, meeting up at a park, outdoors, or we can compile a list of fun activities to do and do around one per day. Yeah. Especially during these difficult times, there are numerous different instances of mental health issues that many may experience, and some of which even can apply to you. Among the most common are depression and anxiety. According to Vox, anxiety and depression are on the rise sharply during these difficult times. And this study finds that subjects that were in the study may have been in fear of catching the virus and may have increased stress due to working online, or maybe even be feeling very tired of being stuck at home and not being able to visit loved ones. And this is really similar to how I feel. And this is another graph that shows that over 2/3 of the people have an increase in mental health concerns because of this pandemic. It is very important for you guys to recognize any of these potential signs and seek treatment as soon as possible. And if they are severe, in order to help relieve your suffering and to improve your life. And drug usage is also increasing very fast during this pandemic. And this is according to the New York Times. People who are anxious and depressed often turn to drugs to try to relieve the pain. But this only makes the situation far more worse than it already is, and it can cause many more health problems, and even physically too. I understand that being stuck at home makes us feel like we have no options, but that doesn't mean that we should turn to drugs. And during this time, it's very important for us to begin thinking more creatively. According to NBC News, one type of treatment that is very helpful, especially for anxiety and depression during this pandemic, is done simply by forming small groups and meeting friends and loved ones outdoors to limit the spread of the virus. Many of you probably thought of this idea, and the best part of this idea is that it is scientifically proven to be safe from the virus if taking out the right precautions. You can even do an outdoor activity together, like a hike or a bike ride. And as I have done around twice a week, I've noticed that doing so greatly improves the mental health and even the physical health too. And it especially helps if you are experiencing a lot of isolation or loneliness. This is by giving you an opportunity to get out of isolation safely and visiting some loved ones. Another very effective solution, according to NBC News, is to create a list of activities that you would like to do or is fun for you. And you should try about one different activity per day, like playing board games, like this, or baking a very delicious dessert to taste. And this approach is extremely helpful, and this is because most people keep the same boring routine and doing much of the same things over and over again for long periods of time. And doing the same things repeatedly can build up great misery and can potentially lead to some depression also, and some other mental health problems too. And this solution helps greatly by giving an opportunity for you to try many new things, and it provides a chance for you to explore new things that you might normally not have done or thought of doing. And I've tried this approach a few times, and I found that life is considerably more enjoyable with this particular approach. And as you all now know, mental health is a very important issue. And this is especially so during the pandemic. And it should be treated seriously in all circumstances. And due to the numerous hardships, the stress that are caused by this pandemic, there is an increased chance that you are experiencing poor mental health. And you should try to pay closer attention to this. If you notice any problems, there are many ways that you can treat it. And as I mentioned before, it can involve safely spending time with friends or family outdoor, or two, doing a different activity each day to help keep up your enthusiasm. It is very important for you to recognize any of these potential symptoms of poor mental health and to try to improve it greatly so that you can live a more enjoyable and happier life, and to minimize any harm that you can do to yourself, myself, or your body. And in addition, if you notice that any of your friends or families are experiencing any of these problems, it would be extremely helpful to them if you could use what you have learned in this presentation to help them. And your friends would be very grateful for that. And thank you all so much for listening to my presentation.